Hello everyone, it's Foo here, long time no see. With Pokemon Scarlet and Violet coming out in a few months, I thought I'd pop into your YouTube feed to tell you why new Pokemon are bad, actually. Now, I know that I'll need strong justification for why these cuties are actually Devil Spawn, or at least not wholly a good thing. So before we get into it, I want to clarify that this is not an issue with designs. Recent generations have been pretty great for original designs, and we may be remembering some of the previous generation's contributions to the national dex with rose-tinted choice specs. But quality of Pokemon designs is completely subjective. What I want to talk about is the measurable damage that new Pokemon can cause. Part 1. Why new Pokemon are bad, actually. The main issue with new Pokemon is when it comes to battling. As an official elderly Pokemon fan, thanks PokeJungle, I've seen a number of new generations come and go. With my experience, one thing I can say for certain is that despite what Karen would have you believe, not all Pokemon are born equal, and some are certainly stronger than others. It's becoming more apparent with each generation that new games tend to introduce more powerful Pokemon. I've previously made a video looking at the strongest Pokemon in each game and how many of those were newly introduced in that generation. The takeaway was that power creep seems to be a real thing, and it's likely to continue with future games. Sword and Shield had some really obvious examples in Regieleki, the fastest Pokemon ever that is still super powerful because of its transistor ability. We've got Calyrex Shadow Rider, which just has unbelievable stats. It's blisteringly fast and has an insanely high special attack stat. It's also got a super powerful move that hits both of the opponents in double battles, and if you knock something out, you'll get a special attack boost, so it can snowball out of control pretty easily. And then let's not forget Zacian, the absolute mad lad. This thing has probably the best typing in the game, incredible stats across the board. Like, this thing is a stupidly powerful attacker with a great speed stat, but its bulk is really good too. It's just pretty much too good in every single way, and it gets an attack boost just for showing up. So, if you're excited about the new games, bear in mind that we could meet a Pokemon even more powerful than Zacian. But that's not really the argument for why power creep is bad. The issue is around redundancy. With all the fun new strong Pokemon, some of our old favourites from past generations may be worse in comparison, making them the suboptimal choice in most situations. Back in Generation 1, Starmie and Tauros were some of the fastest and strongest Pokemon available, but by Generation 8 standards, they're outsped by a plethora of Pokemon, and their attacking stats would be considered mediocre at best. Following the release of Pokemon Legends Arceus, we now have 905 Pokemon. In terms of battling, you probably want to pick the fully evolved Pokemon because they probably represent the strongest Pokemon of their family. So if we only look at fully evolved Pokemon or Pokemon that don't evolve at all, you've got 498 Pokemon that you could use for your team. And that doesn't take into account that some of these have alternate forms, or the fact that some of the pre-evolutions of these Pokemon are actually really strong too. So we've already got so many Pokemon that you could choose to use in battle. The Pokedex is bursting at the seams, like a Snorlax at an all-you-can-eat buffet. When even more Pokemon are added, balancing issues are inevitable. Only a handful of Pokemon will be particularly good in battle, so when we get new Pokemon, that leaves hundreds of our old favourites being at best suboptimal, at worst just plain bad. And it's not just the old Pokemon that suffer this fate. With such a big Pokedex, many new Pokemon can also experience failure to launch, which can feel pretty disappointing. A personal example of this came in Generation 8. After seeing the trailers, I was really excited about the introduction of Eldegoss. I love its cute design, the potential for its abilities was really exciting, and I guess I related to its advanced age, being an elderly Pokemon fan. Thanks, PokeJungle. However, when Sword and Shield dropped, it turned out Eldegoss's stats were mediocre and its move pool was super limited, meaning that it was never going to make serious waves in competitive Pokemon, which kind of sucked. So basically, the takeaway of this is don't get too hyped about the new Pokemon, because they might suck. But even if they don't, they might make your current favourite Pokemon suck in comparison. And that's why new Pokemon are bad, actually. Thanks very much for watching. I've been Foo, you've been Part 2. Why bad Pokemon are good, actually. Prepare for the biggest Pokemon cinematic twist since Pikachu aimed for the horn, because I will now tell you why bad Pokemon are good actually. First off, it's kind of inevitable if we have a big Pokedex that we'll have some bad Pokemon because of these balancing issues that I've mentioned, but it's kind of worth the trade-off. One of the reasons people love to play Pokemon so much is self-expression when they can choose the 6 Pokemon that go onto their team. Having a wider array of Pokemon to choose from means that more people can connect with and find their favorite Pokemon. Especially when we're looking at new games, that's when you can get a load of new Pokemon fans coming into the community, which is really exciting. And if there are loads of new Pokemon that they like the look of, then that's only a good thing. Therefore, some Pokemon being bad at battling is a small price to pay for more Pokemon fans being able to find a favorite. Secondly, having bad Pokemon is really important for people who like to do challenge runs and Nuzlockes in Pokemon. So, playing through a Pokemon game is pretty easy. But some people like to challenge themselves, and they'll self-impose some rules on the game to make it harder. The most common form of this is a Nuzlocke, the main rule of which being that if your Pokemon faints, you can't use it again. It effectively dies in the game. Other rules for this format include that you have to nickname your Pokemon so that you get attached to them, so that it's even more heartbreaking when it does die. But a super important one is that you can only catch the first Pokemon that you encounter on any route. If all Pokemon were good, this wouldn't necessarily be such an important rule because you could kind of make anything work. But that's really not the case. Some Pokemon are very bad, and encountering them in a Nuzlocke can have serious consequences. So having bad Pokemon in the game makes these Nuzlocke experiences super tense, but it also can provide some super satisfying experiences too, because when you've encountered one of these bad Pokemon, but it turns out that you can make that run work, that can feel really awesome, especially if you have to take strategic decisions to overcome the odds that are stacked against you. So basically, the existence of bad Pokemon makes the entire genre of Nuzlocking a possible thing. You also see people doing challenge runs, and especially on YouTube, people upload a lot of this content where they complete an entire game only using a Caterpie, for example. Now, this wouldn't be challenging or impressive if all Pokemon were good, because you would be able to complete a game with a good Pokemon. But because we have bad Pokemon, we can get some really interesting content where people have managed to play through an entire game with a bad Pokemon. So that's reason number 2 why bad Pokemon are good, actually. The last one is the one closest to my heart because it's related to competitive Pokemon. In competitive Pokemon, people are playing to win. So generally, people use the strongest Pokemon at their disposal to get as many wins as possible. And that generally is only a handful of usable Pokemon. It depends what format you're playing, and sometimes you can actually have quite a long list of viable Pokemon in any given format. But in almost all formats, there's an even longer list of Pokemon that aren't very viable at all in that format. But this allows for creativity in competitive, because if you can find a niche for one of these Pokemon that is on the surface not very good or not very viable, it's super satisfying, and it makes team building in Pokemon as enjoyable and fun as it is. That's basically why I play competitive Pokemon. And it also led to one of, if not the most infamous moment in competitive Pokemon history, which was VGC Worlds 2014 final, where Sejun Park managed to win with a team featuring Pachirisu. This was a Pokemon that not many people had picked up on. On the surface, it didn't seem like the most viable pick, and very many people overlooked it. But Sejun Park identified that it had a specific role that it could play. After meticulous research and lots of team building, he put this team together where Pachirisu was a super important cog in the machine. This was such a cool moment in competitive Pokemon, and I think it got a lot of people interested in competitive Pokemon in the first place, which just goes to show that a lot of people also consider this a really fun and interesting part of Pokemon, trying to find those alternative picks that are generally considered bad, but you can try to make work and it feels super satisfying. And I can go back to my personal example again with Eldegoss. So despite not being so good, I still really wanted to make Eldegoss work, and I finally did with one of my favorite teams that I made in Pokemon Sword and Shield, which featured Eldegoss next to Meowstic, so Prankster Meowstic could skill swap with Eldegoss to give it Prankster Sleep Powder, meaning that it could move before my opponents and put them to sleep, which was an amazing support option. Meowstic could then skill swap Eldegoss's Cotton Down onto the opponent, because I can then bring in my Galarian Articuno and continuously activate Cotton Down to give Galarian Articuno competitive boosts and make it super strong with loads of special attack boosts. It was just so neat to find this niche for Eldegoss where I could use its ability to its fullest, and it was just so fun and satisfying to put together. And apparently a lot of other people thought that as well, because I made a video about it and lots of people enjoyed watching it. So those are 3 reasons why Pokemon that people consider bad are actually really good and important for the Pokemon games. So what was the purpose of this video then? If I'm saying that new Pokemon are bad but bad Pokemon are good, why even talk about this? Well, my intention for this video was to present the issues and the benefits of having a massive and expanding Pokedex. We have more Pokemon to choose from than ever, but a lot of them won't be so good in battle. So temper your hype for Scarlet and Violet. Don't get too attached to the Pokemon before they've even come out, because we're about to get a tidal wave of bad Pokemon. That might not be such a bad thing, because now at least you know that if someone says that a Pokemon is bad, you can just let them know that bad Pokemon are good, actually. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider leaving a like and subscribing for more content in the lead up to Scarlet and Violet. I promise that there are videos upcoming. All that's left to be said is I've been Foo, you've been awesome, Goodbye is my baby, and hopefully see you next time. Goodbye.